Trump administration sends the National Guard in response to the LA ICE protest. Third day. Karen Bassett, here it is.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
Hi. So what are you and your
on.
police force? I know how busy you are preparing for the hours ahead. What are you expecting on that front?
Well, I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary. Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday.
Understand that sentiment. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday, meaning the government created the catalyst to what you see, according to the report. Put it up full mass. Context is required here. Third day of protest in Los Angeles. You have arrest. You have lack of resolution from federal authorities. Among the peaceful protests, there have also been scenes of chaos throughout the streets of LA, as seen in the compilation we've collected from various sources. We have the details surrounding the development of now the National Guard being involved. California National Guard. Troops arrived in Los Angeles on Sunday in a show of force following scattered clashes between immigration agents and protesters, and amid a widening political divide between California and the Trump administration. The move by President Trump to activate nearly 2,000 guardsmen marked the first time since 1965. Understand the era that you're in. 1965, that a president has deployed a state's National Guard without a request from that state's governor. The decision was met with stern rebukes from state and local officials, including Governor Newsom, who said the deployment was, quote, not to meet an unmet need, but to manufacture a crisis. Let's stop on that point. What is the governor of California saying? He's saying there was no need based on the demand required nor tactical elements involved. There was no need to have a deployment like this, unprecedented, since 1965, except for one reason. The same reason they did so in 1965, to create the conflict, to create the chaos. There's more. Governor Newsom said California would sue the Trump administration on Monday over the deployment of the National Guard, describing it as an unconstitutional act. In an interview with MSNBC late Sunday, commandeering a state's National Guard without consulting the governor of that state is illegal and immoral, end quote. He wrote this on X. He has formally requested that the government rescind the deployment in Los Angeles County. President Donald Trump mobilized 2,000 National Guard members to intervene in protest against immigration sweeps this weekend. Police used tear gas and less lethal pellets Sunday afternoon as they sought to disperse protesters outside of the Edward R. Roybal Federal Building, which houses an immigration detention center. Authorities also deployed tear gas against protesters blocking the 101 freeway near Alameda Street in Los Angeles Sunday afternoon. Before I get to Pete Hegseth, what's really happening? What's going on? Well, you see, it's a ploy. It's a plan. It's a stage. It's a scenario. Donald Trump wants you to believe that whoever he says is an enemy is thus an enemy. What he will then do is create propaganda around this false enemy. trying to make you believe that somehow this false enemy is the reason for whatever issue you may have. Keep in mind, this man ran on a platform of economy. Is your economy better? He ran on the platform of increasing your wages. Do you have more money in your pocket? He ran on the platform of being the individual who knew what he was doing, had more credibility and more experience and more credentialing than VP Harris. He has taken your jobs. He has fired your children and your parents. He has taken away your higher education bit by bit. He's eliminating your opportunity to thrive and now eliminating your opportunity to survive. Has he tackled one of the problems he promised? No, he doesn't plan to. In a letter addressed to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, California governor, the office said President Donald Trump's deployment of National Guard forces into Los Angeles was unlawful because it should have been coordinated through the governor and unnecessary because local police have the situation under control. They did not request them. Also, Trump on Sunday threatened a forceful response against even nonviolent actions by demonstrators, vowing to, quote, have troops everywhere, end quote, in response to the demonstrations in Los Angeles. Trump said he was not yet at the point of invoking the Insurrection Act to quell the demonstrations, but said he was watching the situation closely to determine if he will do so. I want to show you how he is giving directives, command to the military as if he's the police himself. Now, put it up full mass. This is Trump on Truth Social. Arrest the people in face masks now. Another one. Looking really bad in LA, bring in the troops. Let's go to the LAPD. LAPD Chief Jim McDonald said at a Sunday night briefing that almost 60 people had been arrested during the unrest that was becoming increasingly worse and more violent. Newsom urged protesters to remain peaceful after authorities deployed tear gas and the LAPD arrested several people, declaring an unlawful assembly and issuing a dispersal order after reporting on X that some people were, quote, throwing concrete bottles and other objects, end quote. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that ICE operations in LA last week resulted in the arrest of 118 immigrants. Don't you see what he's doing? He's trying to destroy us. He's trying to destroy a nation from within. You see, I believe that America has an opportunity to go beyond its nature and can be nurtured into something quite remarkable. But Trump also understands something too. He knows that racism and bias runs deep. He knows how deep it runs for him. He understands how he got elected, and that is why he will not offend racist white men. That's the one demographic he will not offend. For those of you who voted for Donald Trump, you did not vote for this. You have to speak up. For those of you who supported Trump, you did not support this. You have to speak up. And if you do not speak up, we must conclude that you are okay with what happens now. All right, Yasmin, thoughts here.
Yeah, again, it's so transparent that it's almost boring. Like it feels lazy and unoriginal. We know what they're trying to do. The president, who called January 6th a peaceful gathering, is now trying to tell people that the people who are actually peacefully protesting the actions of his government are the real rioters, and they deserve to have the National Guard called on them. Governor Newsom has already spoken out against this, as you mentioned, but he really wanted people to know that Trump is a big fat liar. Newsom spoke to Trump about the actions of ICE in his state. He said he was willing to cooperate with the presidency and with this administration in order to curb illegal immigration in his state, but that is not what's happening here. And when they spoke, he said Trump never mentioned anything about deploying the National Guard, which again, as he said, the National Guard is for the governor to deploy, not the president, which is why California is now suing. but they want an inciting incident, right? So they're trying to incite that inciting incident. They want people to respond to being harassed and provoked, so they keep harassing and provoking people, poking the bear, hoping that something will happen. And then once that does finally happen, then they can show footage of people fighting back on Fox News. So they can then tell Trump supporting viewers that the people defending themselves and others are actually the ones who are on the offensive. But I don't know, like, are people still falling for this? No matter what side of things that you're on, you kind of have to know that these types of situations tend to escalate rapidly once the cops and the armed forces show up. And if you're still a Trump supporter, why are you not worried about this president continually abusing his powers and flouting authority and turning these authorities on the American people? Do you just think it's not going to happen to you? Because this isn't about certain groups that are being targeted. This is a systematic effort, as Dr. Richey said, to turn people against one another and to dismantle our government and our country from the inside out. And if you don't get that by now, then you're in for a big, big, big surprise. And hopefully, hopefully it doesn't get to that. Hopefully something can come in to stop this initiative from happening, but they're really not being subtle about it either. I feel like I'm not being inflammatory because they're saying it themselves and they're doing it and they're showing you that they're doing it and that they're proud of what they're doing.
Yeah, well said. We'll continue to update as it develops.